Good evening. Hey, how are you guys all doing? That's weak. How are you guys all doing? Well, I think the finest lesson that we had in our time here at Emory didn't come from a textbook. It actually came last fall, and we were doing a leadership course, and Brandon Smith was teaching, and he said 6 simple words that summed up our class. Build relationships before you need them. Now, I live approximately 1 hour and 47 minutes away. Isn't that right, CK? On a good driving day. But I knew the first time that we came on campus that this wasn't going to be the stereotypical evening MBA program. When you walk in, you sit down, you take notes, and then you go home. This class was different. This class built relationships that went beyond LinkedIn. They went farther than Facebook. And I ask you to make sure they continue on beyond commencement on Monday. Because that's what makes this class really special. Even living in Columbus, Georgia, I knew that I would make lifelong relationships. But before I get on to reflecting on our time here, and also sharing one more little piece of information, I'd like to thank a few people that are here today. First off, to our faculty, both here and afar. You guys taught us lessons that you may have thought only lasted to the final exam. But trust me, they have lasted well beyond those years, and they will continue into the future. To our Evening MBA staff, thank you for making sure we're in the right place, at the right time, with the right amount of popcorn during our breaks. We appreciate that, even when it was broken down for a few minutes. We'll talk about that with the class gift. To the administration, we had one very passionate class, so we appreciate your openness and willingness to listen to us and changing things up when we ask them to. And a special thank you to my wife, Jenny, the most supportive person I know, and all the spouses, the family, and the friends for giving up 624 hours of class time, countless weekends for team projects, and the occasional dirty laundry left in the washer during finals week that got a little smelly. Thanks for picking up the slack on that. So, yeah. Did that a couple times. But before I get into my final lesson, I'd like to share a little bit with you about the hats that we wear. Now, you guys, when you elected, you said, Nate, we were expecting a little something. So I decided to pull a few things out of the closet. You keep one. So when we first stepped on campus, you guys were like, hey, you know, it's 80, 90 degrees out, middle of Georgia. Hey, let's run around campus and do a treasure hunt. That is a great team building activity. All the guys were sweating. Forrest was there running. The girls were actually, it's called glowing. But we continued that glow on into actual work. And we stepped into what some people call management practice. And we learned a very valuable lesson. There's no such thing as perfect data. Even if you're working with an organization as renowned as the Atlanta Falcons, you're going to sometimes have to make a lemonade regression stand out of lemonade. Thank you for working through that. I appreciate your candor. So it didn't stop there. We learned so many lessons here in this classroom, whether it was the death spiral, whether it was learning about how to break down walls and relationships, or maybe it was team building activities that brought us here on the weekends. And maybe Dennis made you fresh creme brulee. And then you said, hey, why not, Disney? You're doing a good thing. Let's recommend that you build a new venture. Let's do hotels with Mickey ears on them. Fantastic idea at the time. We learned many other lessons, and we did many other things. We got to consult companies here in Atlanta, Georgia, and all throughout the world. Some of our people are actually featured in the latest Boys Wedding magazine about consulting for the Olympics. Who gets to do that? Who gets to learn one day, and then the very next day, go out and apply what they've learned? But there was something very special about this class, and it was our ability to have fun. We had a special ability on Wednesday and Thursday nights to go out to the quad and local establishments and just have a good time. And then we also boogied on the dance floor at formal, and then decided to put on this captain's hat. I think, Chris, you were there. We went out to Lake Lanier a couple different times, and we had some fun in the sun. If you remember this situation, one group said, hey, we're going to go back the way we came. And another group said, I think I've got a better way. We were there 2 hours later. We welcomed Gilligan and his crew back. We said, thank you. We're in the captain's hat. It wasn't in the ATL. It was in Washington, D.C., in China, Istanbul, Argentina, and everywhere in between that we had the best memories. This thing has a lot of echo into it right now, so if I'm talking loud... We were able to travel across the globe, learning about new cultures, learning about international business. But more importantly, we got to sit at the international tables with friends and just have a good time. And build those lifelong relationships that I ask you to continue to in the future. If you want to try this hat on later, it's really an amazing feeling. But on top of globetrotting across the world, some people are crazy enough to say, hey, let me just pop the question and get this out of the way and let's get married. And then they said, well, why don't we just have a kid? Some said, why not have another? And we quickly learned that although finance at 2 a.m. in the morning is a fantastic thing to do, the most memorable moments were at 2 a.m. with your child looking up and smiling at you, and then yelling at you, and spitting up on you. So thank you for wearing this hat. And you would think with all these hats just thrown all over the place, one particular hat would kind of get tossed aside, that work hat. But strangely enough, we were all able to achieve great things, getting promotions, going into corporate America, shameless plug for Aflac. You got that insurance. And you were able to achieve things that you never thought possible until you stepped onto this campus. And you were able to climb the corporate ladder, start your own ventures, go into the nonprofit world, and really make this hat work. But all these hats are great. This one's a little heavier than others at times. But I think it's this hat. I call this the family and friends hat, where we were there for our family. We were there for our friends, whether it was in a time of need or just coaching a Little League soccer team. And it's tough because this is the hat that usually just kind of got pushed aside. This is the hat that, because all these hats were going on, we said, well, we'll get to that. But I ask you to remember that this is the most important hat. This is the one that will take you forever. I agree. This is the hat that you have to take with you and truly make time for, whether you put it on your Outlook calendar or not. Because this is the hat that will see you in your good days and your bad days. Remember to wear the family and friends hat, because that's the one that's truly important. But come Monday, we get to don a new hat. It's this very nicely fitted hat. It's this commencement hat. And I think it goes on this side, so I'll put it back. What's great about this hat is every commencement speech is cliche enough to say this is not the end, this is only the beginning. But I ask you, I beg you to make sure that this is not the end. Because it's not. And I actually just started my doctoral studies because someday I want to become a business professor. And I'm trying to think of this one nugget of knowledge that I like to impart on every single business student that I have. And it's simply to live life. And so, as I reflected on all the hats that we've worn, I'm going to end you with one thing. And since I didn't ask you to bring a pen and paper, I'm going to break it down for you MBA style with an acronym. It is simply to LIVE your life. Learn every day, inspire those around you, volunteer your time, and enjoy what you do. Now, as we toss this hat up in the air, come Monday, and then that thing goes flying over. We put on this Emory hat. It's $5 at the bookstore when we changed over. And I ask you to live life. And so now that I told you what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you what I told you. MBA fashion. L is for learn every day. we've had structure for the last 2.5 years, and you've had a syllabi, whether it's 2 to 17 pages long, and you won't have that anymore. You're not going to have those assignments that are due. You're just going to have to go out there and learn. Chip Frame, I think, was one of the most memorable quotes. He said, "You're all a part of a very special gene pool." Thank you for those of you that got that. It's up to us. With great knowledge becomes great responsibility. So pick up a book. Take your extra 2 courses that you have on your docket. Read. I don't care if it's the Hunger Games, a parenting book, or about your favorite entrepreneur. You have to learn every day, because when you stop learning is when your heart should stop. That's the only time learning should stop. I stands for inspire those around you. Now, we've been asked for the answers, and quite honestly, I'm tired of giving them for the last 2.5 years. Whether it's for an exam or for a team project, but now it's our turn to inspire others by asking them the questions. I ask you to ask your kids. It doesn't matter if it's in the bedroom or in the boardroom. Ask people what they want to achieve, how they want to be remembered. Because by you asking them questions and not providing their answers, you will inspire them to achieve what they didn't know they could achieve. And Robert Goizueta had a quote, and I thought it was very fitting since we're here today. He said, and asked, "Will we have the courage and wisdom to build a school completely distinctive in its ability to add value to our society?" We've been given a gift. Now pass it on. Ask other people and inspire them to achieve what you know they can. V stands for volunteer your time. Now, we've all had a few extra hours if you finished up your coursework, or if you just did, you're celebrating. You don't have class anymore. You don't have study time. Find your passion and give your time, your talent, and your treasure. Many of you already have, whether it's going to Nicaragua, maybe it's at Habitat or at Botanical Gardens with students. Find your passion and give back. Because a degree is worth nothing unless you can pass it on to someone else. So volunteer your time. I heard the Dalai Lama a couple years ago here, and he actually came, which was fantastic. I was so privileged because I was at least in the triple nosebleed section. And he said one of the most important quotes that I've heard. And he said, "Our prime purpose in this life is to help others." We've taken the time over the last 2.5 years to really help ourselves, but now it's our turn to help others. And I ask you to do that. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is E. It's enjoy what you do. Now, we heard before, and we actually heard one of our educators say this in her final speech, is if you don't enjoy what you do in life, start. Because we started this journey, and we've got maybe new jobs, or a new wife, or a new husband, and kids, and we've got that enjoyment in different aspects in our lives. But if you don't have enjoyment with every single one of these hats, do something different. Try something new. Because if you don't enjoy what you do, no one else around you will. And to hammer home this point just a little bit more, I'm going to tell a story because Brandon Smith said stories are best. It's about a man named Chris. And I went to undergraduate school in Mount Mercy in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And we had adults with varying levels of disabilities that would clean our campus. And every single morning, 7 o'clock, I would get up and I would go to work. And I would walk out of my door and I'd hear this creak. And there would be this guy. He would peek his head out of the bathroom and say, "Good morning, Nate. It's a beautiful day." And I said, "Oh, yep, it is, Chris." And I would go along my day. It didn't matter if it was a Monday or a Friday morning. It was a beautiful day. It didn't matter if it was a perfectly sunny day or if it was raining cats and dogs. To Chris, it was a beautiful day. And then one morning, I knew there was going to be some storms coming. And in Iowa, we have real winter. Like where snow hits the ground. And we have more than 7 snow trucks to help clear it out. And this particular day, I couldn't see 5 feet out my window. And I opened up my door to go to work. And I hear this creak. It's, "Nate, good morning. It's a beautiful day." "Chris, you are crazy, man. Have you been outside yet? There's no way that it's a beautiful day." And I stopped, and he just smiled at me. And at that moment, I knew that Chris made a choice every single day of his life to make it a beautiful day. It's your choice to enjoy what you do. If you don't enjoy it now, pack it up and move on to the next thing. Because if you can wear all these hats, if you can remember to learn every day, inspire those around you, volunteer your time and enjoy what you do, I guarantee you'll be able to live life. Thank you.